Hi guys, Dabadoo here. So I haven't made a build video in a really long time. I'm planning to play Path of Exile 2 along with most of the world tomorrow. And I'm pretty excited about it. The build that I have planned is an Invoker Monk. The concept behind the build is I will be freezing and shocking things all over the place. I will also be igniting things. I'll be generating lots of power charges, and I'll be shooting out frost bolts and ball lightnings while I'm going around, smacking stuff with my quarterstaff. I think it'll work pretty well. So the Ascendancies that you're going to want to choose first is I am the Blizzard, I am the Thunder, and the Soul Springs Eternal. Soul Springs Eternal is important for this build because you'll be utilizing Cast on Shock as a meta skill and also Cast on Ignite as a meta skill. So very, very useful. Now, and this will let you basically shoot out your frost bolts and your ball lightnings 35% more, which is great. You want to start here for the increased attack and cast speed. Based off of what's revealed of the tree, attack and cast speed, or at least attack speed, it's few and far between, so grab it where you can get it. So you come up over here to get it, and it turns into attack damage right there. More attack and cast speed right here for flow like water. You come up over here. You get this, the flow state. You come over here. Come over here. There's crit passive skills you're going to want to pick up. Might as well pick them up right now. This seems pretty useful. It gives you crit damage and essentially crit chance. Come over here. These are the evasion and energy shield hybrid passive skills. And this character, in terms of armor, was probably just going to be rocking evasion and energy shield hybrid armor. So I'm going to be buying points like this on the tree. Come down over here. Come over here. Here, get Mystic Stance. Again, energy shield is going to be useful for this build. I think I'm going to choose Meditate as my fourth ascendancy. I don't think I'm going to choose Sunder My Enemies. I don't think I'm going to choose Unbound Avatar. Maybe once I get into late game and I have really good crit gear and things like that, I might go over to Sunder My Enemies. But I want to try leveraging my energy shield and meditate and use that as a way to kind of give me like a life buffer, an effective life buffer before I charge into enemies, or a way to kind of heal up really quick and dash out of combat and heal it up. The faster energy recharge rate that I have on the tree and the more energy shield passive skill so that I'm picking up should help with all of that. So anyways, going back to the path, you come around over here, you get this. Now also what I would suggest just for quality of life is you pick a point here, grab this for the stun threshold. Not getting stunned will be very nice, at least to start out until you get really great gear. And then over here, you get, recover life on kill. That's very nice through the campaign. That'll give you sustain and let you charge between packs and fill up all of your life. So get these 2 points. They might not seem helpful, but it'll just make life smoother for you as you go through the campaign and you start building out your character. Come down here and grab up the freeze buildup. Again, you'll be freezing stuff constantly in this build, and the extra cold damage, which was nice. Come over here, and now a really important point of this build, or a factor of this build, are power charges. This build is built around generating and spending power charges. So all of the power charge notables on the tree, I'm getting them. So Lust for Power is one of them. 10% chance that if you would gain power charge, you would instead gain the maximum power charges, and you get +1 maximum power charges, which is nice. And then you also get Harmonic Generator. Again, more power charges, 20% chance to gain a power charge when you shock a chilled enemy, and I will be shocking and chilling enemies all over the place. So that's more power charges from that. And then of course there's a power charge notable over here under the quarterstaff tree, if you will, or node. So you'd want to get this one with the storm as well. And this is quarterstaff stills that consume power charges count as consuming an additional power charge. And that's going to be great for the different skills I use, especially Falling Thunder. But we'll get to the skill rotations and the combos that I'll be using in a moment. All right, so more in the pathing. You want to probably go down here just to grab this. These are increased attack damage and a chance to blind. Blind seems like it'll be useful with this build, especially because I'm going to be using evasion as one of my armor bases. So, it'll help with me, evading attacks. So you want to come up over here, go over here, grab this stuff. Now this is really nice. Damage penetrates 100%, 10% cold. You also want to get Unbound Focus, 50% increased duration of elemental elements on enemies, and then it makes you increases your chill effect and shock, which is great. Come over here, and I picked Heartstopper on this tree. I think it might be useful with combating damage over time. Damage over time in Path of Exile 1 can get pretty nasty. How this works basically is you're going to if you take damage over time, you're going to take a spike of damage to start off, and then it'll immediately drop off. So it should be quite effective, and I think it'll be worth the 3 points to grab it. Also, it's really important as you come over here to get these attack damage passive skills, along with all the lovely notables like Global Accuracy, increased attack damage, and this one as well, Mana Leech. I'll be using Leech in this build, and I'll essentially a sustain and defense mechanic, and I'll get to that when I cover the skills in a moment. You come over here, grab this, stall it. All right. And then come up over here to get to the Quarterstaff passive skills over here. This will give you crit multi. This will give you that power charge notable I talked about, and more attack speed, which is always great, and increased damage with stabs. So grab this stuff over here. Now when you're up over here, you can go over here for more increased attack damage as well. So you're getting an attack damage wheel over here, attack damage wheel over here, attack damage wheel over here, attack damage stuff over here. Also increasing your attack speed as well. I have 103 points allocated right now in the tree. In Path of Exile 1 terms, that's like level 80 or something. So kind of getting into maps. Maybe it'd be less, maybe more, I don't know. But the point is there's like 20 more points you can spend on the tree. So there's more ways to build this out. What you'll probably be doing, based off of what we know of the tree is, what you could do is come up over here, grab the Evasion and Energy Shield hybrids passive skills, including Spectral Ward. So that's probably what I'll end up doing. Another thing that you want to do is when you're connecting this, you grab this for some extra staff AoE because you use staves. And what you can also do is this wizard or sorcerer area is really close to you, and you can get some really great mana and energy shield passive notables from here. So you just hop over here real quick. You get more maximum energy shield, faster energy shield recharge, which should help with meditate. More maximum energy shield. If mana is an issue, and I think mana is actually going to be an issue in this game. A lot of the gameplay footage that I saw a lot of people starving their mana pools. And so if you need extra mana, well, you can get some mana regen right here, or you can get some more maximum mana from right here. So that's useful, and those are an option. So that's the tree. You come up over here, loop around, grab some stuff, get some stuff, get some stuff, get some stuff, over here, come up over here, grab some crit stuff over here, here, boom, boom, boom. That's the plan. Again, like I said, meditate is probably going to be my 4th ascendancy, but these are my first 3. Okay? That's right. Let's talk about my skills. All right. I'm going to go kind of in the order of operation how they would be used. So my Hand of Chayula is my opener. It is a gap closer. It dashes to the enemy. Okay? Doesn't miss. But what's great about this is it applies a mark and a curse. So you can put a mark and a curse as your support gems for this, and it'll apply both of them, and it'll add extra effectiveness to it. It doesn't say what the added extra effectiveness is, but I'm just going to guess it's like 25%. And then when you also have heightened curse from this, we'll say that's 50% more effect. So 50% more effect on temporal chains is really nice. Now, why am I using temporal chains as my hex or my curse? Well, because it'll make me freeze things better, ignite things better, and chill things better. It'll help with all of my elemental ailments. It'll make them last longer and be more effective. And it'll just slow enemies down. And I like the idea of locking the screen down with freezes and chills and chilled ground and slows and all that. So great. Temp chains is the way to go for me, I think. Now, I'm not going to be using Sniper's Mark as the mark. I'm going to be using Voltaic Mark right here. But there's a bug on this website right now where the only mark you can put into a support for the Hand of Chayula is, well, it's not Sniper's Mark, but I'm not going to be using it. Like I said, I'll take Mark. Now, this is my opener, so I put Ambush on it, so I'll be hitting monsters with this probably first to start. So I charge into a group using Hand of Chayula. It'll curse the monster. When the monster dies, it'll spread the curses around to other monsters. The curses and marks will be highly effective because of the text of Hand of Chayula and the heightened curse right here. And you get some extra crit chance because you're starting the skill off. You're going to hit them first, and you put Ambush on this one. Okay. So this is the gap closer. You gap close, and it curses and marks the enemy. Okay. Then you come up over here to Siphoning Strike. This is going to be one of the major tools of this build to generate power charges. The concept behind this build is to generate power charges and spend those power charges, and at the same time freeze, shock, and ignite everything as a result. Okay. So Siphoning Strike is also a gap closer, just as the Hand of Chayula. So it'll charge right to the enemy. So it'll really get you up in the action, which is important. Now, some interesting things about this skill. It's a lightning skill, but it doesn't convert any of the base damage over to lightning, right? Now, I'll have extra lightning damage from things, and I'll go over all the extra. Oh, let's go over them right now. So this one, because I'm trying to make this thing shock itself, because when I hit a monster that's already shocked with Siphoning Strike, it will then generate me a power charge. And I'll also create a shock nova around the monster, which will probably then also hit the monster for a second hit. So it's just making sure that the monsters are shocked, and hitting them with this will generate power charges, basically double the damage. And yeah, that's pretty nice. And then generating those power charges we'll be using for Falling Thunder. But the supports I have on this are Shock Chance, because I want this to shock, because I want it to power itself. And added lightning damage, because that'll basically increase its ability to shock. Inevitable Critical, it just seemed like a decent support to put on here. A Mana Leech and Life Leech. So as you notice, these leech supports are physical attack damage. And what's great about Siphoning Strike is it doesn't convert your attack damage over to an element by itself. So like these leech skills or these leech supports should be useful on Siphoning Strike. So this is also my way to keep my mana and my life topped up as well. Okay. So once I generate some power charges, then what happens is I use Falling Thunder. Falling Thunder is, you can use it anytime, but when you have power charges, it becomes incredibly effective. Like 100% more damage plus another 100% more damage plus a bunch more projectiles on top of the big AoE. It's great. Now, the downside of this, it's a little slow. The base attack speed is 60%, so I have faster attacks on here. I also have Innervate on here because I'm most likely going to be killing monsters with this skill. And of course, it has Calling, right? So you start off with the hand. You build up power charges with Siphoning Strike. Once you got some power charges, you use Falling Thunder. It's a slam, so it'll create like, an AoE jagged ground around it. If you kill a monster with it, it'll get called. This thing shocks by itself, so this just makes the shocks, has a higher chance of shocking. It's faster than normal, and when I kill monsters with it, then it'll make all of my attacks gain 20% of added damage as lightning, which is great. Okay, so let's talk about all the added lightning that I have. So I have added lightning from Innervate, have added lightning from Herald of Thunder. For Siphoning Strike itself, I have added lightning from this. And then, of course, you get added lightning from I Am the Thunder right here. So that's a lot of extra added damage. And it's not just physical conversion of damage, it's just total damage it does and then adds lightning damage on top of it. So it should be pretty effective. Now, the devil's in the details on a lot of these things. And so I was watching videos of how these skills play out. And it seems like Falling Thunder it's a good skill. It covers good ground. It has a big AoE. It hits really hard, especially when there's power charges on it. It seemed like the hardest hitting monk skill, at least when the player had power charges. It looked pretty great. So that's the concept behind that. Now, also, I do have a combo skill in here, and that's Tempest Bell. So whenever I build up 4 combo, meaning hit things 4 times, I'll drop a bell from the sky. And this bell will last 6 seconds or after I hit it 12 times, okay? And now, this bell, it has 120% base attack speed. And I think that only really applies to it coming down from the sky. And so Pulverize would be a good support for this, because when you hit it for 12 times, that's not based off of attack speed. That's just it's a reaction to you hitting the bell. So I don't think you're just going to gain all the benefits from Pulverize and none of the negatives except on deployment of the bell itself. You got Air of Effect, watching videos of the bell, getting that AoE as much as possible up seems really important. Also, what I have on the bell is Lockdown and Pin. So, I'm freezing, shocking, igniting, temp chains things, all that stuff, and then I'm dropping bells on their face, which will lock them to the ground. That's the plan there. And then, you add melee physical damage on this as well. You don't have the negative effects of the less attack speed for the most part, because beyond the deployment of the bell, it's just, it's reverberating when you hit it with your staff. So, and I think attack speed is going to be super important in this game. And so I don't want to slow down my other attacks. I'd rather just have it on the bell. All right, so let's talk about my Herald skills. I'm running Herald of Thunder and I'm running Herald of Ash. I don't think Herald of Ash hits. So the skills regarding Ignite, like Ignite Proliferation, things, there's some other ones as well, like Fiery Death. I don't think those can support Herald of Ash because I don't think this is considered a hit, but I could be wrong. Whatever the case is, I'm using, because Herald doesn't hit, Herald of Ash doesn't hit, I'm using basically all of the support buffs on it. So you got Herbalism, Cannibalism, Precision, Clarity, and then Fire Mastery to get this up 1 level. Okay. Now, because Herald of Thunder hits, you can put supports on it that require the skill to hit. So I got Execute, I got Shock Siphon. Those lightning blasts will come down and they'll probably kill monsters once in a while. It's a way to get some energy shield back, which is nice. Lightning Mastery, because this is a lightning skill. I don't know if the Lightning Mastery also increases the levels of the lightning support gems tied to it. It may. We'll see. And then Lasting Shock, just to make sure this thing shocks better. And Vitality, because I have one more persistent support buff that I can put in here, and I might as well put it in this one. Now, we also got Lingering Illusion. And so whenever I roll, I'll generate basically power. I'll create a copy of myself and generate power charges. So I'm generating power charges from Siphoning Strike. I'm also generating power charges from rolling around with Lingering Illusion. And, I'm also generating power charges from like Harmonic Generator and things like that. And again, the more power charges you have, the harder this will hit like a truck. And this will hit like a truck with good coverage and clear. Now, let's talk about the meta skills. I'm not using Cast on Freeze because freezing isn't going to be as common as shocking and igniting things. And I want these spells to go off all the time. So casting on shocking will be the most common thing that goes off. I'll be shocking more than anything else. But I am going to be igniting and chilling and freezing a lot as well. But when I shock things, I'm going to shoot out a Frostbolt. I have Volley attached to the Frostbolt, so it should shoot out 3 Frostbolts. And these Frostbolts, when they're traveling, they'll be leaving chilled ground on the ground. And so that will automatically chill monsters. And therefore, when a monster is chilled, I'll be able to get the benefit of Harmonic Generator on them. When they're chilled, you got like hypothermia. So it'll make it, like, this is just a nice, great chilling and freezing AoE skill that goes out. And it'll get triggered every time I shock an enemy. or build up enough energy. Now, because I have the Soul of Springs Eternal, this skill, like I'll be shooting out more frost bolts than most people would using the meta skill. I actually think this is pretty good. I saw some content creators say this wasn't good, but I think this is decent, at least for builds that use meta skills. Now, so this is my frostbolt that gets shot out when I shock things, and when I ignite things, I am shooting out a ball lightning, which will shock things even more. And then, Herald of Ash, whenever I kill an enemy, if there's other enemies around, it's a guaranteed ignite on those other enemies. So that counts as an ignite. Now, and then of course, Herald of Ash also gives me extra fire damage to all my attacks, so I could theoretically, ignite things with my other attacks too. So this should be shooting out pretty frequently as well. So that's a ball lightning, and ball lightning basically hits monsters like 5 times a second, right? And it's very effective at shocking, but it doesn't do good shocks, but just lots of really tiny shocks. So because of that, I have Stormfire on here. So those shocks should kind of like add up and not dissipate over the, after when it hits a monster like 5 times a second, and it's traveling through a pack. And then also, the little beams that shoot out from the ball lightning are 1.8 meters. And I had basically shock proliferation on here. So that'll add another 2.5 meter radius to the shock. So these balls that come out should be shocking a lot of things. I put blind on here because, again, it hits monsters 5 times a second. So that's like close to a 75% chance in 1 second that, a monster will get blind from ball lightning. That's fuzzy math, but you understand. I also put Innervate on here because I'll be shocking monsters a lot with this. And I'll get, 2 mana back when that happens. So that's the plan. This is your gap closer. This is your initiator and curse mechanic, along with a gap closer. This is your also another gap closer and generates power charges and will shock things. This is like your big boy that you'll slam the ground with, and you'll use this to basically do most of your damage, most likely. And this thing, when you build it up, drop it on enemies' faces and completely wreck their day. And again, the idea is the entire screen is going to be filled with spells automatically cast from you, chilled ground, shocked ground, ignited enemies, everything. That's the plan. I don't know if it's going to work. I think it will, though. Now, the concerns that I have mainly are survivability when fighting the really tough bosses, right? Because I don't have... I'm going to try to just get a bunch of evasion and energy shield. And again, I'll be rocking evasion and energy shield armor. And I'm probably going to come up here as well to get it even, my evasion and energy shield higher. And then plus with meditate, I'm hoping that's enough to, give me an effective life buffer with meditate. And also, I'm dodging because I should have a decent enough evasion, or I'm evading because I should have a decent enough evasion rating. Like that should keep me up. And I'm also leeching as well. Like this can be a pretty consistent leech skill. I can just spam this over. And, once I have once I have kind of all the procs going, like this should be shocking by itself. So like it'll just power itself up. And then I'll eventually have like 4 power charges or whatever and just like hit like a truck when I throw this thing out. That's the plan. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. I'm planning on posting like an update every day to how this build works, the tweaks I make to it. And, I might be going through some different pathing on the tree, but based off of what's revealed on the tree right now, I think this is a pretty good path. It's pretty no nonsense. And yeah. All right, guys, I'll see you tomorrow. Bye now.